I definitely think that my new favorite type of pin to collect would have to be these piece of history pins. Piece of history pins, as the name implies, contain an actual little piece of Disney history in small little bubbles on them from whatever attraction, resort, store, restaurant is being featured on them. And they're released separately both at Walt Disney World and Disneyland. And I don't have a whole bunch of them at the current moment, but I thought I would showcase the ones that I do have and talk a little bit about why they are so awesome and such cool ones to collect. Most recent one that comes from Walt Disney World, and this showcases Downtown Disney. I love shopping at Disney. I probably go inside every single store that I can in the parks. So I always have really fond memories of Downtown Disney since it is now changed to Disney Springs. This has Mickey and Minnie as a little pin-on-pin element there, and in the piece of history pin bubble, you wouldn't really know what it is if you just look at it. It's kind of shredded white stuff, but on the backer cards for all these pins, there's always a specialized description of it. So it talks a little bit about Downtown Disney, and it says that this pin contains a piece of the large overhead traffic entrance signs leading into the area. And these piece of history pins, at least currently, generally retail for $15.99. I know there was, I think the Toontown one that came out at Disney World was $19.99, but typically they are in this price range, which is kind of standard for limited edition pins, especially ones that are this special that have a little piece of Disney in them. On the backs of the pins as well, they also describe the material that is found inside there, and this one specifically was a limited edition of 1500. Some of the Disneyland ones that I have, this one is featuring Donald Duck riding Pirates of the Caribbean. He's a little pin-on-pin right there. There are actually a ton of different Pirates of the Caribbean piece of history pins, each one with a different design on them and featuring a different component of the ride, so I'm not sure if it's just because they refurb it so much and always have pieces that they can take from the ride, but I liked this one for the design of this one. On the back, little description about this one, that this pin contains a piece of the rubber bumpers from the passenger boats on the ride. You can really see in this one that yes, that actually is, you know, one little piece of the bumper from the boat. Back on this one as well also says what it contains, and this one is a limited edition of 2000, which is more common for the Disneyland ones. A Disneyland one that I actually got to purchase in the parks myself when I went in January was this piece of history for Sleeping Beauty Castle. This one features Aurora on it. The pin-on-pin here is just the little banner stating Sleeping Beauty's castle. Got the little bubble sticking up there, and the description for this one is a little bit longer, detailing a bit more about the castle, but this pin contains a piece of the flags from atop of the castle turrets. So you can see they kind of include the little blue where that's coming from, just like the others. Back of this one describes what it contains. This one is also Ellie of 2000. And now those are the only piece of history pins that I still have, or that I actually have the backer cards for. I have 3 others that don't have backer cards, but you know, they're still just as cool. So I had to have a Splash Mountain piece of history one because Splash Mountain is my favorite ride at the parks. This one, since I don't have the backer card, it does state on the back that this pin contains a piece of the Showboat Dancer's dress. And this one is from Disneyland and was a limited edition of 1000. So kind of similar pin-on-pin to Sleeping Beauty, where it's just this lower element there. But kind of common theme is even just the pins themselves for these piece of history pins are really cool designs featuring really neat attractions in the parks. Some that are still there and some that are gone. I also have one of the older piece of history pins. This is from Walt Disney World at the Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular. Mickey here as Indy is a pin-on-pin there, and I love Indiana Jones, and I even love it more when Mickey himself is dressed as Indy. This one is actually from 2008, and this was when they still numbered the piece of Disney history in series, so this was part of the 3rd series. And it's a limited edition of 3500, but you see on the back of the older ones it doesn't state what's inside, but I do know that the little piece that's in there is one of the plastic spears that shoot up during the stunt show. And the last one I have is a slightly different type of piece of history pin. This one is actually a piece of cast costume history. So instead of having a piece of something from the ride itself, what's in the bubble are little snippets of the actual costumes that the cast members would wear. So I thought this one was a cool type of pin to have for the Jungle Cruise, since the cast members are really what make this ride special. Back of this one here, this one says Disney Parks Cast Exclusive, which is how you know it's the cast member costumes, and this one is a limited edition of 1,000. So not a huge collection to start off with, but I just think they're such a cool different type of thing to collect. And the other big bonus that comes with piece of history pins is that you are always guaranteed to know whether or not your pin is authentic, because if it's authentic, it's gonna have that little bubble and it's gonna have things inside it. All of the fake piece of history pins, which there are a surprising number of on eBay, every single one is missing the bubble here. Now sometimes, you know, a bubble can be missing on an authentic pin because these actually are kind of fragile and, you know, can break off if they're not carefully stored. But a lot of the appeal of the piece of history pins is having this actual, you know, hey, like right inside there is a little piece of Downtown Disney. So that's just kind of a little bonus to know that these are always legit when you have the bubble here. But as these all kind of show, they're always just really nice designs, oftentimes with really cool pin-on-pin elements, and they come out with a new one every single month. All the ones that they come out for with the attractions I think are really neat, and for things that are no longer at Disney, like Downtown Disney. So that's even more a piece of the history of Disney that you get to own. So I'm definitely gonna hopefully expand this collection a little bit more and own a little bit more of Disney.
I hope you enjoyed this video, and please do consider subscribing if you'd like to see more Disney and pin related content. And I hope you have a zippity-doo Disney day!